Okay, so hi everyone. Just so you know, this lecture is going to be recorded. So out of the 3 sessions, this is the one that gets recorded, okay? So when you come and talk to me during the break or at the end, just make sure that you wait until I stop the recording. Otherwise, your question or anything that I would like to say will be recorded and I cannot change it, all right? So just so you all know, that's the situation. So thank you for coming today. I think we still need to wait for a couple more people because we have, I think, 95 in this session. So how many of you have done the branding course with me before? I have a couple. Yes, I can recognize a couple faces. Anyone on exchange? Anyone on exchange? No? No one on exchange? Anyone first semester at UQ? First semester? All right, first semester. Okay. So you are lucky because you have so many other people that has been here for some time. We've been here for a long time. So if you have any questions, please let us know. We're happy to help or guide you. Even if you have questions about UQ, we can direct you to the person that will help you. Okay? So if you have any questions, let us know. Right? Even if anyone is on exchange as well, you can ask, and we can. The library is offering so many services and student services as well. So even if you've been here for a long time, you may not be aware of all the services that are available now. Even sometimes I don't know about them. So it's good that you, if you have any questions or you need help, let us know because we are your direct channel to any help that you could get from the university. So my name is Claudia Gonzalez, or Dr. Claudia Gonzalez. Some of you have been in the graduation ceremony. Although I graduated last year, I had the ceremony recently. But I've been teaching at UQ for 7 years. So I used to do just the branding course and sometimes the consumer behavior course, but now I'm taking the master's level since last year. So this is something that I'm very passionate about. I'm also doing research in consumer behavior and market disruption. So I'm very passionate about marketing in general and marketing and research in marketing. So if you would like to maybe further your career into academia, you can also talk to us. We're happy to help. We have a few facilitators doing PhDs. So I think we are more than happy to talk to you about that as well. So in terms of the lecture outline for today, we're going to talk about assessment. I'm going to show you briefly Blackboard and what information you can find. There is not enough time to go through every single details on the assessment, so I'm just going to show you where to find information so you can have a look, and hopefully by next week you will have more information and questions, and then we can help you with those questions as well. We're going to talk about academic integrity and ethics, and also about the process of requesting assessment extensions. And then we're going to start with today's topic. We're going to talk about what is consumer behavior, explaining value, transformations in terms of consumer behavior and consumer behavior research as well, and classifying consumers. The last part of today's lecture we'll probably won't have time to cover it in this lecture, so we're going to cover that next week, okay? Because we want to do as much as we can and spend time so you can learn during the sessions. So in terms of the course structure, we have 3 sessions. So we have one session on Monday, one session on Wednesday, and another session on Friday. So if you miss this session, please feel free to come to the Friday session, or if you know that you're going to have an issue, or maybe you have an appointment or something else, you're more than welcome to change your session one of the weeks. The only issue is that we are going to do a lot of group work, especially in the weeks that are allocated to group work, which you can see in the course outline in the ECP. So if you are not going to be here, please let your group know that you are not going to be here, because that might be the only problem, okay? So you will have to catch up with whatever work we have done during the session, okay? This lecture is also recorded for the ones that are a little bit late. This is the only session that will be recorded, so make sure that when you talk to me or you are close to the front, make sure that you are not being recorded. So just wait until the break or until I turn my microphone off to talk, okay, or to ask me questions. So in each lecture, I'm not sure if you have had this experience before at UQ, but we are going to have a lot of discussions in small groups, like with your table. We use a lot of e-learning tools, so you'll be posting your answers on Padlet, or we're going to use UQ polls. We're going to have discussions about case studies. We're going to have time to maybe read a little case from the textbook, and I'm going to give you that time, and then you can discuss that little case. Today we're going to do that. For example, we're going to have in-class presentations at the end of the semester as well, and if we have any guest speakers, I'll let you know in advance so you know that you have to come that day. Any questions about the class or the structure of the course? No? So we are very lucky to have this room. Very, very lucky. I had to fight for it. So it's perfect for having class discussions and workshops and interact with your peers. So yeah, I hope you appreciate it because it was very, very hard. In terms of the teaching team, you're also very lucky because you're going to have different lectures during the semester. So I am the course coordinator, so if you have any questions about the course, you can talk to me, or if you have any questions about assessment or changes or deadlines or anything related to the course structure, please send me an email or come to my consultation time. And I will be taking some weeks, especially the weeks related to assessment. We also have Dr. Wen Mao. He is going to start next week, so you will meet him next week. And we also have Dr. Rakesh. The interesting bit is that we are trialing this, but we all have different experiences and we all have different expertise in terms of consumer behavior research. So I think it's a good opportunity to have different points of views. It's going to be a bit more entertaining than having one lecturer the whole semester talking every single week, I guess, I hope. So please let me know how you find it at the end of the semester, but I hope you find this structure an opportunity to learn from different people and to learn more about consumer behavior. We also have 4 wonderful facilitators. So you have 3 facilitators each week in the room. So we have Alex over there. Yes. Yes. Lynn and Afia. Yes. So we've been working together for a long time, and they are very, very good at helping groups and helping students. So what we are going to do this semester is each group, once we start forming groups, each group will have a facilitator allocated to your group and 1 lecturer. So then when you need to ask questions or you need to email something, send an email about a question in terms of assignment, or if you like to see someone from the course, you can see the same person, and then you have a point of contact with us. Obviously, you can reach any of us, especially during the class, or if you have any questions, you can talk to me as well. But we are going to also implement that structure where each group will have a facilitator and 1 lecturer assigned to the group. Okay? Any questions? No? No questions? So I would like to show you quickly that if you go to course stuff, you will find all our details, consultation times, room location, and our names, our pictures. So if you'd like to talk to us, or if you have any questions about our lecture or lecture content, you can talk to either of us. So all our information is posted on Blackboard. If you go to course help, you will find the different weeks that each of us are taking. So, for example, I'm doing week 1, Gwen is doing week 2, I will be taking week 3, then we have a break because of the public holiday, but you'll be working on that week. So I will explain what you'll be doing. We have Gwen in week 5, 6, and 7 again. And so each lecturer has a week assigned. So if you have any questions about particular content or a particular topic, let us know. And you can find this information on Blackboard under course help. We also have some details about what to do if you have, for example, questions about the course, questions about lecture content, questions about assessment tasks, extensions, sub-assessment. So if you have any questions, have a look at this section of Blackboard, and then you can find out where you need to go and who you need to contact. We also have a discussion board, which is a little bit different than last year as well. And we thought it might be a good opportunity to share questions and also share answers. Because most of the time, especially in this large class, we have around 300 students. Sometimes, and most of the time, when you have a question, someone else will have the same question. So what we have done here is to split the discussion board into different topics. So we have one topic about one piece of assessment, about another piece of assessment. I will explain them today, and also questions about the presentation and the course in general. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can post your questions there. We also have one discussion board per week. So if you have a question about a particular topic, you can ask your question there. And maybe someone else will answer your question. A lot of the time, another student will say, check slide 2, or something like that. So, yes. So we are trying to do a lot of different, and show you different tools to engage with us, because we know that this is a large class and we want you to feel supported. All right, so we're now going to do an activity, so you can meet your classmates as well, because you also need to start thinking about your group teammates and forming groups. You don't need to form groups today, but it's a good start. So Alex is going to explain today's activity. Yes, you need to turn it on.
Okay. So everyone should have a piece of paper that has the grid on it. So this is an icebreaker activity and get to know you activity. It might be a good opportunity to start thinking about who you might like to form teams with later in the semester. So what you need to do is you need to walk around the room and meet other class members. You need to meet one person at a time and find people who match one of the descriptions in the cell. So have a read through and see if you match any of those descriptions. And then once you meet the person, you need to write their name in the blank space. And where there are multiple choices, so you can see some of them have little boxes where you can tick multiple choices, you need to tick the box that applies to the person that you've met. And then if none of the options applies to the person, you need to meet someone new. And then once you've filled a whole row or a whole column, you need to shout bingo, and then we'll see who the winners are. So we have 4 winners.
Yes, and we have some prizes.
Yes. So come up to the front, so go meet people at your table first, and then once you've met them, then you can meet other people.
Oh, but you have to stand up.
Stand up and...
Stand up. Everyone stand up, please. And only one person per cell, okay? Only one per cell. Oh, that works. That's good, because then when we have group work, yeah. study too.
Just remember that it's one person per cell.
No bingos? No one? Does anyone have a bingo yet? Ooh. Okay, we have one bingo, 3 more to go. Walk around. So you have to meet someone. You have to try to meet people. So fill out each of the cell and get them to put their name here.
Okay, please sit down. We have 4 winners. Oh. So please sit down. Oh, you stay here.
Serena, right?
We already have 4. Is that
So
the
we got
4?
4 bingos.
So what you were the 4?
We got Serena was number 1. Number 4.
Sorry.
So
You are the 4? Oh, you were the 4.
3.
Oh, you already got the
Who's
2.
number 2?
Okay.
I got 2.
No, I think. Oh, yes. Thank you. What's your name, though? Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't have one. Okay, so everyone, please sit down. I'll let you.
Okay, let's see if the people correctly wrote the names in the right spot. So Claudia, did you interview Claudia? Has tried Vegemite. And Renee is excited to learn about consumer personality and motivation. And deciding when to have coffee at UQ is a habitual choice for Shen. Where's Shen?
Shen?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You go to Merlot? You go to Merlot? Yes. And Lee would consider themselves where's Lee would consider themselves a mostly unique consumer. Well done.
love your shoes.
Yes. Eve? So you did it this way? So Leslie, you've tried Vegemite. Where's Leslie? There's Leslie. Lee is excited to learn about consumer personality, self and motivation. Lee. And deciding where to have coffee is also habitual for Lynn. She goes to Darwin's. And Renee would consider themselves a unique type of consumer as well. Well done. That's Renee over there. Yeah. Okay, Licks would consider themselves a traditional type of consumer, cost-conscious. Deciding where to have coffee at UQ is habitual for Shirley. Where's Shirley? Shirley goes to Merlot. Rahul is excited to learn about consumer culture.
Nice.
And Lee has always purchased the same brand of toothpaste. Where's Lee?
I think that's me.
Is that you?
Oh, okay.
What toothpaste do you like? Colgate, of course. Well done. And our last winner, Iris. So you did it diagonal.
Wow.
Jim. Where's Jim? Jim needs to try Tim Tams. Deciding where to have coffee at UQ has habitual for Angel. Where's Angel? You always go to Merlot. And Willa has tried all of the breakfast cereals, Wheat Bix, cornflakes, rice bubbles and Nutrigrain. Well done. And deciding what music to listen to is an emotional decision for Hysina. And they listen to pop music. Well done.
Thank you. All right, I hope you liked that. Yes? I heard, oh, when we said, oh, let's go and sit down, please. I'm glad that you enjoyed that. We will try to do a couple of activities like that, especially when we're talking about assessment, and try to interact a little bit more with some other consumers. So the good thing is that we're studying consumer behavior, and consumption is part of pretty much all of our lives. Every day, we deal with consumption, we buy things, we use different products and services, we make different choices. So that's one of the reasons why we need to study consumer behavior, because you are doing probably a major in marketing, or you like to study marketing. So it's important for us to understand what is consumption, what is consumer behavior, what do we mean with that, how do we study consumers, and why it's important to study consumers. So that's part of what you are going to learn here. You will learn more about yourself as consumers, but you will also learn about how to understand each other's behavior and some other people and some other cultures, rituals, behaviors, patterns. So it was interesting to see so many differences happening even with this quick exercise, isn't it? And we will do some more about that today. So in terms of the learning resources that we have for the course, the textbook is very important. So this is how it looks like, okay, the textbook. I need you to get one of these. It could be a second-hand textbook, or you can borrow it from the library for a few hours, but it's important that you start reading the textbook chapters, because we will do a lot of active learning here, and that means that you need to know a little bit before coming to the lecture, okay? You need to read the chapter, if possible, or have a look at the textbook chapter, and you will be using this textbook as well for your assessment and for the exams. So I always receive the same questions: do we need the textbook? And the answer is yes, you do, okay? Are we going to assess the textbook in the exam? Yes, we're going to do that, okay? So it's important that you get a copy of the textbook, or have a look if you can borrow it from the library as well. In terms of lecture attendance, we will have a weekly overview and discussion of consumer behavior themes and issues. It's important that you do some preparation before you come to the seminar, write notes, take notes, and also discuss your views and opinions. Why we're doing that? Because when you discuss, you're learning, and then you will remember when you have to apply the concept that you're learning into your job or if someone is asking you for your opinion, then you will remember quickly because you have actively learned that specific concept or theory or issue in terms of consumer behavior. So that's in terms of learning why we are doing this, because of that. Because you learn better when you apply it, okay? If we memorize something, we'll forget it in probably a semester, yeah? Also, you are required to attend one workshop. We are going to give you some tools to prepare the assignment that we are going to have in this course, and so we are going to have 6 workshops during the semester in weeks 6 and 7. I'm going to show you the exact dates and times, and you need to attend to at least one of them, okay? So that's one of the reasons why we are not having a lecture during the public holiday, okay? Because you will be using that time to attend the workshop in one of the following weeks and also to work in your assignment, okay? But I will talk about the assignment a little bit more today. In terms of what you find on Blackboard, you will find lecture notes, assessment materials. It's already available on Blackboard. If you go to assessment, you can find some of the guides, some of the marking criteria, and some guidelines related to the assignment. So you will find consumer research project resources. We have a multiple choice exam, which is going to be online. You can also find some resources to study to that particular assessment already available on Blackboard. Some required and recommended readings to further your understanding of the seminar content and activities. So it's important that you visit Blackboard regularly throughout the semester. We would recommend probably at least once a week, okay? And some other important information, please use your student email when you email us, because most of the time if you are not using your student email, it will go directly to our spam email. So I'll never see it, okay? So when you need to email us or you have any questions, please use your student email and also identify yourself. So you need to put your name, what course you are doing, and what's your question, okay? Those 3 pieces of information are very important because most of the time I get emails and I don't know which course you're talking about, what is the problem, or who are you? So it's important that you identify yourself so I can reply to you using your name. Otherwise, I can only see your student number, so it's not ideal. Library. So we have a lot of services available for you. The librarian will come in week 3 to show you some of the resources that are available for our course and how to access those resources. It's important that you learn how to use databases with consumer and market reports and industry reports. Can you show hand if you are familiar with any of these databases? Euromonitor, 2? Only 2? Okay, good. Yes, it's important that you understand how you can access industry report and consumer reports. That's a skill that you can use after you graduate, but it's also a skill that you'll need to finish your assignment, okay? So if you don't know how to access these industry reports, please make sure that you come in week 3 because the librarian is going to show you how to access those databases and what you need to do if you have any questions, because the library is offering a lot of support now for students, okay? It's also important that you are able to access journal articles and you are able to find consumer behavior articles and marketing articles. So if you don't know how to do that as well, you need to know. It's important for the assignment, and also she's going to show you and direct you to how to find that information. So the library built a specific site for our course. It is already available under assessment, and that means that you don't need to go through the library to find some of these resources. You can go straight from that website that is built for this particular course, and she's going to show you how to do that. Okay? So we spend a lot of time thinking about what resources we could make available for you and how you could find information in an easy way. So in terms of the assessment, the big project for this course is 45%. We are going to do a consumer research project that you have to create a videography. Okay, that's the main piece of assessment for the course. I will explain more what is that about. We also have an online quiz that is 15%. It's online. It will be available on Blackboard, and you have 40 minutes to answer 30 multiple choice questions. And at the end of the semester, you will have a final exam. It's individual during exam period, and you will have to answer 4 extended short answer questions for that piece of assessment. Okay. So in terms of the consumer research project, is anyone familiar with videography? So do you know what a videography is? Yes?
This is like making video we designed product strategy, so it was based on our concept and idea.
It was based on your concept and idea, yes. So I'm going to show you an example from previous semester. This is a video created by students like you. So I'm going to start with the example, and then we can talk a little bit more about the assessment details. So I want you to think about what are the key consumer behavior concepts that you will see in the video, and what is the key objective of the video. What information are they trying to communicate? And what are you learning? So what's new? Something that you didn't know. Okay? So I'm going to lower the lights a little bit.
How often would you be at a cafe and see someone taking a photo of their food? How often would this be you?
Social media has created the global platform for instant communication and sharing of experiences. A study conducted in
How often would you be at a cafe and see someone taking a photo of their food? How often would this be you?
Social media has created the global platform for instant communication and sharing of experiences. A study conducted in 2016 found that 69% of Australians are using social media, with 91% of the study's respondents saying that they use social media to connect with their peers, and 36% saying they use social media to share videos and images of their personal experiences. Our generation has created a ritual of staying connected through social media. For many of us, the first thing we do when we wake up in the morning is check our social media. On average, global internet users spend some 109 minutes surfing social networks. We interviewed 3 people about food gramming.
I enjoy taking photos of my food.
Hi, my name's Scott. I'm a self-confessed food grammer.
Food gramming is defined as taking mouth-watering pictures of delicious foods and proliferating them throughout various social media websites. Although this definition briefly explains the behaviour, it does not tell us how everyday consumers feel about food gramming or the role that it plays in their lives as active consumers. We asked Jasmine what food gramming meant to her.
Food gramming is when you take really well-placed photos of your food and post it on social media.
A ritual is a sequence of behaviours, spoken or performed, that have meaning beyond their functional role and are repeated in similar contexts.
A ritual is something that you do repetitively.
Rituals are defined as having 4 elements. 1, an actor, 2, an audience, 3, scripted behaviour, and 4, ritual artefacts. Can food gramming be classified as a ritual performed by consumers? Let's consider these 4 elements. Within food gramming, there are the actors who physically take the photos and post them. There is an audience within the platforms the photographs are shared. There is scripted behaviour, the taking and posting of the photo. And there is the artefacts, the food and the phone.
Almost before every meal, if the food looks good enough, I'll take a photo of it. You could almost say it's like a religion, almost.
Just an unconscious thing for people to do now.
So we can definitely see that more and more consumers are food gramming. But why are consumers participating in this behaviour so much? Empirical research suggests that people use social media to fulfil psychological and emotional needs. This hypothesis relates to the uses and gratification theory. This theory argues that individuals seek out specific media to fulfill their needs, and fulfilling these needs leads to ultimate gratification. A 2013 study by Whiting and Williams found that 88% of participants use social media to fulfill their need for social interaction, while 40% of their participants use it to share information among peers or followers.
Why do you share photos of your food?
Because it looks good and I want everyone to be jealous of the food that I'm eating.
Sometimes I go to cafes just to food gram, and you get to share what you're eating with all your friends, and that way other people can try and find the cool places to go as well.
This need for social fulfillment is further reinforced when considering the ritualistic aspect of food gramming. Researchers suggest that rituals assist in defining a social identity and serve as a bonding function, providing tools and techniques for social behaviour. Studies suggest that active participation and the increased involvement of the consumption process provides increased enjoyment for the consumer.
Now that we understand why consumers participate in food gramming, we can further look into how the ritual influences our own behaviour and the behaviour of others. In a survey conducted by Ramnarian and Govender, an overwhelming majority, 92% of respondents, indicated that they use social media platforms to search for information and advice on products. When asked about sourcing new places to enjoy her next meal or beverage, Britt revealed,
Just from ones that I see on Instagram.
Yeah.
If someone else, one of my friends or some famous food grammar person has posted it, I'll look at what cafe they're going to or what place they're going to and I'll want to go there.
Well, it's like you see on Instagram, you see a really nice breakfast thing or somewhere, you definitely go to that place because it looks really good, you want to try it out.
research suggests that user-generated content from peers or social influencers encourages a sense of trust and in return purchase intent.
Yeah, I do think I'm influenced by my friends' food gramming.
This can be linked towards consumer socialization theory, which refers to the process by which individual consumers develop attitudes and specific patterns of socially relevant behaviours to assist in functioning as consumers in the marketplace. It is evident that this ritual not only affects the behaviour of those participating in food gramming, but also external consumers who interact with them online. Food gramming has become one of the most influential consumer-driven rituals and can have a significant impact on consumer behaviour. 7 in 10 Australians use Facebook, 5 in 10 Australians use Instagram, and 1 in 6 Australians use Snapchat. Given the academic literature and the increasing popularity of food gramming amongst younger consumers, it is fair to say that this ritual will only continue to grow and gain more influence over consumers and their culinary decision-making processes.
That's 5 minutes. That is 5 minutes. Yeah. So we have been doing this for 5 years, I would say. We have tried 3 minutes, 10 minutes, and now we are into 5 minutes. But it's mainly because, and I would love to hear your comments on this. But 10 minutes seems like a lot of time to edit and work. It's almost like a short film, a movie. 3 minutes, you need more time to actually create a shorter video. So the shorter the video, the more time you need to invest, because you really need to think about what information you are going to include and how do you structure it. So 5 minutes seems like a good halfway in between a long movie that is overwhelming and a short one that is also overwhelming. So you'll be doing something like this. So I would like to know, what did you learn from this video? Can anyone tell me, did you learn anything new that you didn't know, or?
A lot of statistics.
A lot of statistics, okay. Anything that you can recall or anything interesting?
I would say that it's very personal for people to take pictures for their food. Some people will assume that it's very Asian thing to do. It's like a lot of Asians like to take pictures of their food. Yeah, I think it's very interesting.
Okay, that's a good point. So maybe if we have to do something like this, we can do a comparative study or like interview people from different backgrounds. Anything else? Yes?
I learned what is food gramming.
What is food gramming? I didn't know that either before. Yes. Hashtag food gramming. I don't know. Yes, what else? Yes?
I learned what makes up like the actual definition of a ritual.
Oh, you didn't know? Okay, that's interesting. Yes, so we have a combination of things. So it is not a news report, like you wouldn't see something like that in television, right? So we have to take the time to explain the concepts. But you can find different ways to show the same definition, right? They used someone drawing, yeah, different concepts in the theory. You can verbalize it. You can maybe read it as a voiceover. You can create an animation. You can put a PowerPoint slide with the definition. You can write the definition on a piece of paper and hold it. There are so many different ways to show the same information, and that's why I really like this assignment, because you need to use your creativity. So one of the reasons, two reasons. So digital literacy is a must skill to have for graduates, and it's something that UQ is pushing very hard for us to really teach you and to give you the skills and the tools to be able to succeed in the real world. So digital literacy is important. That means that you need to know how to use a computer, how to crop an image, how to import a movie, how to open a movie, what an editing software looks like. You don't need to really know how to use it as a professional, but you need to understand how it works. And that's because even if you are not working in advertising, at some point you will have to communicate your ideas visually. It could be a video or a picture or a report, but you need to be able to think visually as well. So using creativity is important as well for this DNA, right? So that's why we are actually teaching you how to do this. So I know that some of you already have done courses where you started doing a little bit of editing with Professor Jay, we're our Dina. So you have some editing skills. The workshops that we are offering are a little bit more advanced, but we are trying to address all types of skills. So if you have zero experience editing, we're going to help you. But if you have some experience editing videos, we have a professional filmmaker coming to do the workshops, so he can give you some further tools, or maybe work on like different effects or animations or different ways to communicate the same information. Okay, any questions so far? No? So you will be producing something like this. It's a 5-minute research film. You need to include primary research that includes consumer interviews, maybe a little opinion poll or some surveys. You can use data from journal articles. That's why you need to know how to find journal articles. You can include information from annual reports, from industry reports, or consumer reports as well. You can use archival evidence and use that in the form of video. So TV news, YouTube footage, you could see here that what they really filmed was pretty much the interviews. Everything else was from YouTube, right? Or news, or maybe some other archival visual data. But what they've done here, they did also the drawing. So they filmed the drawing, the interviews, and they recorded the voiceover. I'm missing anything else? No? I think that'll be it. So it's very important that you also find some archival evidence that you can include in your videos. You don't have to record and create everything. You need to find some sources of information to explain your ideas. So on Thursday the 15th of August, so this will be in week 4, that's a week that we have a public holiday, you have to submit a topic nomination form. So we will be discussing a little bit this in week 3. And you need to arrange a group. So you need to form a group by week 3. You need to sign up on Blackboard by week 3. But we are going to do all that in the lecture, okay? But it's important that you start thinking who are you going to work with from now, okay? The topic nomination form is not marked, but you need to submit it, okay? So it's a required submission, and the idea is that we will give you feedback in terms of your ideas, maybe the direction of your film, the consumer behavior that you are trying to study, some of the resources that you are thinking maybe including in the video. And it's a form that you have to submit with some initial ideas of the assignment, so we can give you some feedback and direction. And you will receive feedback by the end of week 5. Okay? You also need to self-enroll on Blackboard, and you must complete this by the end of week 3. But if you haven't done it by week 3, we're going to do it in the lecture. Okay? So I'm going to give you some more information about that in week 3. The first piece of assessment related to the project that you have to submit is the film treatment and script draft. This is due on Thursday, the 5th of September at noon. And what we're going to do here is to write down all our ideas, the concepts, the definitions, the statistics that you find about your consumer behavior, and you need to submit a 6 pages written report. You also need to include an annotated bibliography with 6 key articles and 3 industry reports into that analysis, and a draft of your script. So we're going to give you help. We're going to give you resources. I'm going to show you some examples and templates in week 3, so you can have a look at what a script looks like, what sort of information you need to include in your treatment, what is the information that is required that you include in your treatment, and you will receive some feedback after you submit your nomination form as well. Okay? Any questions about this? No? Why we're doing this? Because if you get it right, you will have an amazing video. Okay? We don't want you to wait until editing to start thinking, what statistics I'm going to include? What sort of information do I need? How do we explain rituals? Yeah? So all that information should be researched and understood prior to the editing and filming process. How many people do we need? Your point about, is this an Asian, Western? Do we need to segment our data? How many people do we interview? Should we interview moms? Should we interview students? What age bracket are we going to include? How many interviews do we need? Do we really need interviews? Maybe all the interviews are already available on YouTube, and we just need to maybe have a little survey or a little poll and ask some people around us, yeah? So, any questions? No questions? Lynn, any suggestions?
I would suggest you would go through the trends that are happening around you. Like, ask your friends what is new, what else is happening in, for example, movie industry, or you could go to the FMCG, or you guys like clothes, look at the clothing lines, find something new and share it with the group.
Yeah, that's very important. Like, I'm going to give you a topic now.
How many members are we supposed to have?
5. Yes. 5. It's somewhere in one of my slides, but 5. 4 to 5. Not less than 4, and you cannot have more than 5 because Blackboard won't allow you to do that. Okay? So it's either 4 or 5. And also, this is it's not a huge assignment, but it's a normal assignment. So it's important that you have a good group that you can rely on, and then you can allocate different tasks. So we usually have students doing interviews and filming things with their own phones. So you can even split those tasks. So you can say each of us will interview 2 people, and we will just record it in our own time, and then we will edit that. Or maybe we will discuss which ones are better to communicate our point, and which ones maybe they don't really work for what we need to do. So, film technique workshop. It is a requirement of this course that you at least attend one of them. We have 3 in week 6 and 3 in week 7. So it will be up to you if you would like to attend, let's say in week 6 or week 7. I'm going to open the workshops on Sign It, so you can sign up for those workshops by yourself. So I'll send an email to the whole class when that is available. Okay. The reason why it's not open yet is because I would like you to go with your group, if possible, or some team members. So if possible, you attend to one workshop with more than one team member. So I know that some of you have done the library training. Yes? Some of you have done the Premiere library training. Can you please put your hands up if you've done the library training with Jay? Yes? Library training, video editing training. Some of you have done it with the other course, product development course. Our workshop is a little bit different. We are going to show you some examples and ideas to work with this particular assignment. So we created this workshop for this course, okay? And we run the workshops. So yes, we will address any sort of skills or experience. So from 0 to I am a professional filmmaker, okay? So at the end of the semester in week 12 and 13, you'll have to give a 15-minute presentation, and all team members need to participate in this presentation. Within these 15 minutes, you have 5 minutes to show your video. Okay, so out of the 15 minutes, you have 5 minutes to show your video. And then you have 10 minutes to explain what is your video about. Okay? So the presentation gives you an opportunity to justify some of your decisions. Maybe if you conducted 7 interviews and you are just showing one of them, you can explain why you are doing that. You need to justify your research approach. You need to provide insights. So what did you learn during this assignment? What's the contribution of your research to the understanding of consumers through marketplace? And what are the managerial implications? So managerial implications is something that you won't have time to include in your video, but it's something that you need to reflect in your presentation. Yes? So what do we do with this information? Yeah? In terms of food gramming, what do we do with it? Why do we care? That's the question. If you are a restaurant owner, what is the managerial implication of this? Can anyone tell me?
That people might be willing to pay more for their food than what's really good enough to Instagram?
Yes, that people will be willing to pay more. In the video, they say that there's a new trend that you actually go to a restaurant just to take pictures. Yes, did you hear that? So you go to a restaurant not to eat, but to take a picture. Yeah, so it needs to look good. What else? Any other managerial implications?
It helps people to try new places when they see that this place is having this food, it looks pretty, so people go to check that place out specifically.
So we need to maybe encourage that this happens, that you take pictures, yeah? So maybe we need to provide a hashtag, yes, because otherwise how are we going to communicate, yeah? We need to have a hashtag, otherwise we don't exist, right? What else? Any other managerial implications? Any other managerial implications?
It could lead to bad PR if it's a bad experience and someone figuring it in a negative light as opposed to photographing everything.
Good. So we need to monitor what is happening online, right? To be able to respond. And therefore we need to have a strategy. How are we going to respond to this? So if someone says this food is crap, Are we going to say, no, it's not? Or are we going to say, oh, actually, maybe you should come again? What is going to be our policy as a restaurant when something like that happens? Yeah, because that's related to the personality of the company or of the brand, right? How do we respond to negative comments? Also, how our pictures look like. So if we have an Instagram account, what sort of pictures, what's going to be the tone of those pictures, what's going to be the color of those pictures. Yeah? Lighting, very important as well for restaurants. Because if the light is not good, the picture is going to be really bad, right? So many different things. Have you been to a restaurant where the waitress is very, very keen to take pictures of you and your friends? Yeah? No? That they even offer you to take a picture of you and your friends? Yeah? That's policy, restaurant policy most of the time, right? It's part of the training of the waitress or the waiter, right? So many managerial implications that we can have from this very small topic, right? But there needs to go so much thought into doing something like this. This video is really good because of that. Because it's clear, and they probably just recorded everything with their phone, right? So, very simple. Okay, so yeah, it offers an alternative learning experience for marketing and advertising students. It encourages students to look and think closely to what type of consumers you're going to investigate, what consumers are we looking at. It also challenges students to think creatively as well. And it's important for you to develop those audiovisual skills as well. So we have some more information on Blackboard, some examples on Blackboard, some videos on Blackboard. I'm going to post more videos. So if you like to have a look at those when you are thinking about your ideas, that would be a good way to maybe be inspired by some of these videos and some of the examples. You don't need to copy one of them, but maybe take bits and bits from different examples. Okay. So I'm going to show you a videography that has been done by a professional academic, by a researcher. So this was already published in the Qualitative Market Research International Journal, and they created a video of that research. So I'm going to show you this video. And I want you to look at how they communicate information, how is it different to a news report or a current affairs, how do they disclose references as well, okay?
We live in a throwaway society where products are made for immediate and often single use. According to the latest ABS statistics, we threw away 5.2 million tons of garbage in New South Wales alone. We can even witness our society's ease in dispossession in our own suburbs, where garbage is easily left in front of houses. But if we live in a throwaway society, why is this man accumulating objects in his home? According to Frost, this man would be defined as a hoarder, a person that accumulates privately and is unable to dispose of objects. He keeps things that seem not to be useful to anyone, such as drawers, broken videos, and old computers. What motivates this hoarding behavior? It is this question that this film is dedicated to answering. Trash is in the eye of the beholder, a study of hoarders and their attachment to possessions. Although hoarding is a type of consumption behavior, these actions have only been explored within psychological terms. Hence, little research attention is granted to hoarding within a consumption framework, rather than a symptom of a broader psychological condition. Is hoarding a response to self-expression? Or an emotional connection with the object? Or a search for security? Or even a sense of disorientation? To better understand the complex relationship between material attachment and issues with dispossession practices, a qualitative study was undertaken. 8 in-depth interviews were conducted with informants that identified themselves as hoarders. The interviews produced 14 hours of video and were only conducted with functional hoarders.
I suppose the hoarding is sort of has an instrumental purpose, and that is it's linked to something you're doing. And like, I don't just hoard sort of cans or stuff. Everything I keep has some use that can be relevant to later work.
I've recognised it in myself since I was at primary school, that I'm not a great one for throwing stuff out, and no, I've known that and accepted it about myself.
I can't throw things away. I find it impossible to throw away bits and pieces. In fact, I moved from Perth to Sydney and then to Goulburn to where the farm is, and I brought everything: nuts, bolts, jars, glass, window pane.
I'll just keep on to them perhaps forever. And that sounds really illogical when I say that. But yeah, I probably will. I don't see a reason why I would actually dispose of them.
So that's why we've got a 6-car garage, right? But now that is full, right? So your thought would be, okay, well, why don't you clear some of the things out? Yeah, I do need to clear things out. Do you know what my second thought is? I should go and get another 2-car garage in the back of the garden. I could not throw them away.
Never throwing anything away. That's very, very painful. It's very hard for me to even think about.
Yes, now it's starting to sound like I'm a bit eccentric or crazy, but yes, I would see some beauty in most of those things. Unless it's something like an electrical cord, no, I don't consider an electrical cord a thing of great beauty, but that would be more practical.
Throwing away doesn't solve anything. If I have it, I can take it out and use it. If I throw it away, it's gone forever.
I've got a rock in my jewellery box that my husband brought back from England. And that was because he was in a special place that I'd asked him to go to, and he picked up a rock from there and he brought it back. Now, if you looked at the rock in my jewellery box and gone, what's that rock doing there? You don't need that. Chuck it out. Don't you dare chuck that rock out. There's a lot of significance behind that rock.
Just wherever I go, I like to pick something up as like a
So you can see that here they are actually clustering sections of the interview to explain what is happening. So when they included this slide, orientation to the past, they are saying, so we are aggregating the interviewees that talk about orientation to the past, that talk about how that brought a significant symbolism to my life now, but it is coming from the past. So you will see that I'm not going to show it to you the whole video today because it's 22 minutes, but it's available on Blackboard. But if you see the video, you will find how they cluster these informations, we call it theorizing, but how they theorize the information that is coming from the interview. So at the beginning of the video, we have a title that it's very important to understand what is the focus of the video. What are they trying to communicate? What is this about, right? Then they talk about the data. We have 14 interviews, we have this amount of data, we have this amount of information, or we use information from different data sets, for example. And then they also have information about the interviewees, right? We know that his name is Tom. Probably it's not Tom because they are de-identifying the name. So we know that it's 49 years old. We know that he's married. Yeah, he's probably from a big city or maybe a urban location, and he's a youth officer. So this information is important for us to know, right? That's why they are disclosing that. And they are disclosing it because they are showing that they have variance in that data, right? He's not the same. He's a bookshop owner from a rural area, and he's married. Yeah, so they are actually disclosing a lot of information when presenting the interviewees. References to explain and to demonstrate knowledge, maybe definitions or theory, but we will have a look at some more of this later in the semester. Okay, do you have any questions about that? No questions? So be as creative as you like. Try to include information and communicate the information in different ways. Think, how can I include this definition without really writing down the definition as a PowerPoint slide? How can I convince my audience that what I'm talking about is interesting? Have fun, explore consumer behavior, and think about new or alternative ways to represent consumer lifestyles and behavior. We're going to have a detailed discussion in week 3, so please come to a lecture in week 3, or you should be coming every week, but it's important that you don't miss week 3, because we are going to discuss with your group, and we're going to try to progress your assignment, and we will be assisting you and working with all groups so you can progress your assignment, and then you can submit your nomination form, sign up into the groups, and everything that you need to do by week 4, okay? Defining your research topic. So this is your research topic, changing behavior and trends in consumer buying and shopping behavior. What's driving change? Why is shopping changing? So it is a very broad topic, right? You need to look at changing behavior and trends. You need to look at buying and shopping behaviors, changes in buying and shopping behavior. So please don't use these examples because they've been overused, okay? So don't use social media influencers or Uber or Fitbits, okay? Or any smartwatch variations. So you need to think out of the box. You need to think, and to think about it, we have resources. So this is a report, it's an industry report published by Euromonitor, and it talks about emerging trends in consumer behavior. They have published 2 recent reports, this might be the 2018 one, but they recently published a 2019 one. So you can access both of them through the library. So what they talk in this report is about emerging trends in consumer behavior. They talk about ethical living, healthy living, how shopping is being reinvented, experience more, premiumization, connected consumers. So each of these big themes is a way to approach that research question, okay? Because in talking about changing behavior, we can talk about ethical living. In talking about changing behavior, we can talk about experience more, right? Or in talking about changing buying and shopping behavior, we can focus on premiumization. Yeah? But first we need to find out what is that about, right? So effectively, what you are going to be doing is identifying a trend. For example, experience more. So experience more is there, right? You need to identify a consumer behavior trend. Think about the managerial implications, because that's going to be the easy part. But then you need to think about how are we going to explain that? So how are we going to explain the changing consumer behavior? Okay. So I'm going to show you a little video about experience more, and then I want you to think about how you can apply that trend to this particular research question. Okay. So think about the changing behavior, try to take notes about the trend, and also some managerial implications that they mention in the video.
Experience more is one of Euromonitor International's 8 megatrends that we've identified that impact on consumer behaviour and attitudes. Experiences, whether they're good or bad, make consumers happier over the longer term than material possessions. This is research based on Cornell. We also see that consumers are prioritising experiences over buying goods and products, with almost 40% of global consumers saying that it is a priority for them. This shift is apparent in all markets, particularly in advanced economies, but also we see it in emerging economies such as India, Colombia, and Mexico. One brand really exemplifies this trend, and that is Airbnb. They have been highly disruptive in the lodging market and already are the third largest lodging player after Marriott and Hilton. They offer truly local and authentic lodging experiences that has really resonated with travellers and consumers, and we see that there is this strong desire for the unique going beyond the core tourist hub into undiscovered destinations and districts in key cities around the world. We see that retailers as well are embracing the experience more trend. Sephora, a beauty specialist, really epitomizes the experience more in the retail environment. They are using an array of digital technologies. They've created a great mobile app community where consumers can share views and exchange ideas, tips and best practices on the beauty products. They also in-store have virtual assistants and use augmented reality so that consumers could try before they buy. And so they really get the fact that it's about being consumer-centric, using digital tools at the right moment, whether it's before to encourage and inspire consumers, during to really enhance the experience in the store of that product, and then afterwards when they go home and they can sort of continue to learn and share with their friends and family. So it's very important that brands set up the experience but also take into account the fact that consumers will want to share that experience online, they'll want to brag about it, and so that is fundamental to the whole experience. Ways that brands are leveraging this is that they are using events, lifestyle classes, exclusive access, backstage passes, etc., etc. Equally, brand extensions, looking outside their own silo to take inspiration from the likes of art, culture, science, technology. That all helps to create innovation and inspire consumers through brand extensions. But fundamentally, experience is about perception. And this is where we see that brands are spending a lot of money on making sure that their in-store experiences are perfect for that Instagrammable moment.
Okay, so now we're going to take 5 minutes and the facilitators will go around and see how you're going. You need to apply the trend, experience more, to the research question. So think about changing behavior and trends in consumer buying and shopping behavior. So how can we explain changing shopping behavior? What sort of shopping behavior do you think is changing? Pick one of them. Think about the managerial implications, and also think about, and this is why you need to study and come to a lecture and read the textbook, what is actually changing? This part is a bit complicated, so that's why I need you to really focus on the activity right now. What is actually changing, okay? Yes, they want to experience more, but why? And that's the questions that I want you to answer. Why is this happening, okay? So take notes. This is going to help you so much to work in your topic, because you don't have to use experience more. You can talk about ethical living, you can talk about healthy living, premiumization, and so many other new trends that are happening. But if you get this right, it's going to be much easier to do that. All right, let's start. Okay. So who has the mic? Alex, do you have the mic? Okay. Do we have any examples? Yes.
We had some good discussions on this
Yeah,
table.
I heard some good discussion. I had some good discussions over there as well.
So we had a feminine perspective.
Okay, so let's listen to the example.
Hello, I'm Lee, and from the observation, I noticed that there's a consumer behavior changing in from offline retailing to online retailing, especially in cosmetics. And as a man, I do not figure out why it's shifting from offline to online. So Aaron from Canada answered my questions.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm Erin. So the example I gave is like when I was a little girl, I would go with my mom to buy cosmetics, and you had to go to a department store and speak to somebody behind a counter. There was nothing you could try on by yourself. It was very assisted shopping, so it was very directed shopping. There was a lot of the personal choice was actually taken out of the experience. The sales lady would say, okay, you need this product and you need this product. And one of the shifts to taking it online is that it puts the power a lot back in the consumer's hands. So the example I was giving is in Sephora, like she was talking about, you can actually upload a picture of your own face to the website and virtually try on any of the makeup products that Sephora offers in their store. So from the comfort of your own home, you have complete control of the purchasing, experiencing, trying situation, and then you can try on 100 million things in 1 hour, and it really like gives the power back to the consumer. And then if you want to buy, you can go into the store and buy, you can buy it online, and it just makes it really easier than it used to be like 20 years ago.
Good, good. So so we could explain that change in so many different ways, right? It could be about learning and the way that we learn about new products and the new innovations in terms of cosmetics, or we can talk about maybe the motivations have changed as well. Maybe it's something about attitude towards technology, or towards using technological devices to buy things or to project ourselves. Cultural changes could be happening. Maybe this is not happening in all cultures, but maybe into some, or among specific age brackets. Personality could explain it. Maybe not. It's not a cup of tea for everyone, but maybe for some people. We can also use something like practice theory to explain it. Yes, so the doings are changing, and we can use the different models to explain this disruption, right? So that's why you need to figure out how are you going to address that change. So it's this part is very easy for you because you are living it, right? Like she was talking about it. You know, you can see it, you can take pictures, you can go and see how things are changing. You can probably think about managerial implications. The difficult bit is to think about how we're going to explain that. Why is this happening? Because once we know why is this happening, we can really address the change. So if we know that it's something about attitude towards technology, right, or attitude towards the applications, for example, then we need to focus on application and the design of the application and the interface of the application, right? If we know that it's something about culture, then we need to segment our strategy, right, to that specific culture or that specific segment.
One good thing they were mentioning is even that availability of Wi-Fi in shopping areas, because that's a big implication, especially for like travelers and so forth that may not have access. I think that was.
Yeah, that's a good point. Availability, Wi-Fi. So yeah, a lot of makeup stores now they offer free Wi-Fi because of that, and they have the password everywhere. Or you get a text message or a notification on Facebook because they use geo-targeting. But anyways, that's another story. That's managerial implication. Another example? Anyone else? We had a very good one over there. Can we use your example? The gaming one? In the past times, because of the lack of technology, the computer games, including PS4's PS series, the characters of games are limited. Players only can choose one from several characters to continue their gaming process. But now, more and more games began to provide the service that if you pay a little money, maybe $10, you can dress your real characters with different clothes or faces. So a lot of people made the payment, and I wonder the reasons behind the behaviors. It's they go to have more beautiful. I think they put their implication of themselves to the characters. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. We have self-theory in the textbook. So yeah, online gaming, like buying behavior online gaming. Yeah, that's a really good topic and area. So yeah, please think about different areas that you could use, maybe from your own experience, to apply to this assignment. So I assume you know about online gaming because you probably have experience with that. And it's interesting to showcase that information because maybe a lot of people who don't know about it. So also all videos will be available to you, so you can watch some other groups' videos if you are interested. Any other example or comments, questions? No? Yes?
I've got an example. Like, very popular in China. Like, some companies, they invite some celebrities to start an online room. They actually use a celebrity to introduce some like new products, like lipsticks, and lots of like consumers, they can attend this room and watch the celebrity how they apply these cosmetics on their face, and it's very like attractive to, especially to the young people. I think might because of the cultures changing or the technologies bring this like changes that like people to make this behavior changing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the only thing there is that we need to focus on the consumer. So it's very important that your assignment focuses on the why of the consumer behavior. So why is people going there? Or why are they maybe motivated to go to this sort of activities to buy things? So, for example, pop-up shops are very common now, but we don't want you to focus on the actual managerial strategy. We want you to focus on why consumers are keen to go to these new emerging trends. Why are they actually using them? How are they buying? How is their buying changing because of that? Yeah. So, Indropili Shopping Center is doing a lot of pop-up shops. They have a few empty stores, and then sometimes you see people queuing, and you have no idea why is that happening. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm a bit out, but I never know what is happening. But you see a lot of, like, a long queue of people waiting to get into a store. That's very new.
It's a free makeover.
Free makeover? Oh.
Makeup.
Yes. So, yes, but I want you to focus not on the brand, not on the managerial or strategic decision, but focus on the consumer. That's very important. And that's why it's important that you come to our consultation and you discuss your topic with us. Because what we just did there is something that we could help you with. So maybe asking you questions. So why are you interested in this? Or when we reflected on self-theory or theory of self. That's something that we know and we can help you. So we can say, have a look at this chapter. You probably should focus on that chapter to study your trend or your changing behavior. Do you have, yes?
I I think sometimes we need to just be aware of the change in behavior, which is what the consumer would be changing, especially in this experience, whether it's changing their attitudes or even changing their culture where they come from, a place where you probably don't ever use credit cards. No, you're probably just using your watch and all these different things. But it's from the consumer perspective. So it's just marrying what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, so we can look at trust, for example, right? Now, like, I don't use cash. I pay with my phone everywhere I go. But I'm trusting this device that I didn't trust before. So what is changing there is trust. So we could look at attitude theories to understand why trust is changing. So these discussions are the ones that you need to have with your group and with us, all right? Okay. So let's say that you are interested in online gaming, okay? So we can go to Passport, one of the databases that we can access to through the library, and look for online gaming, purchasing behavior online purchasing behavior, and use different keywords to find consumer behavior reports or industry reports. If you go out of the library, you will see that you have to pay $1,500 or more than $1,000. Please don't do that, okay? Because it's actually free for us. So all UK students have access to these reports for free. So the librarian is going to come in week 3 to show you how you can access to the database. But you can see that it's really expensive, and it's expensive because they have a lot of very interesting cutting-edge information. So it's really cool that we can access that because companies are paying this much to have a look at each report. So yes, so we have that opportunity to use these reports for our assignment. So you can use statistics, information, definitions. If you go and look into experience more, let's say across the customer journey, you probably find some examples and some ideas of different types of behaviors that you could focus on. So they probably will talk about online shopping. They will talk about in-store and pop-up shops. So yes, you go there and then you need to do that to submit your topic nomination form. So this is what you need to start thinking about. So see more detailed information in the course profile. We call it the ECP, which is electronic course profile. So whenever I'm talking about ECP, I'm referring to the electronic course profile. That's available through Blackboard. We also have handouts, marking criteria, checklist, guidelines. Everything is available already on Blackboard. Okay. And if you cannot find it, just send us an email and we can direct you. Or if you have any questions, you can post it in our discussion boards. So I already talked about this, but we have the MCQ quiz on the 12th of September, and that closes on the 13th. So you only have 40 minutes between 8 a.m. on the 12th of September and 12, which is noon, on the 13th of September to complete this exam. So you have 40 minutes, so once you start the quiz, you have only 40 minutes to complete it. Okay, so if you close it, don't do that, okay? Why would you do that? My recommendation is to do it on campus for 2 reasons. One, you can tip me an email and we can make it fixed. Or if you have an issue, you can go to IT. If the computer crashes, you have evidence because you are using the internet here and they have your IP and things. So you have some more security that if something happened, someone can help you or you have evidence that something happened. Okay, so try to do it here. And if you have any questions or issues, you need to send me an email as soon as possible. But this is an exam, so you really need to take it as an exam, okay? So you only have one chance, only 40 minutes, okay? 30 multiple choice questions, and it will cover lectures 1 to 7 and chapters 1 to 6. We will send you a reminder to your email. So I'll send you a reminder probably the week before and maybe the day before. So you know and you don't forget about it. Final exam is 40%
Just
on the exam. Yes?
So on the previous one, on the quiz, just to let you guys know, you have 40 minutes. So just be very ethical, because we have questions that everyone would get different things. That's how the system works. So don't waste time trying to see if your friend can help you, because that would just disappear and you would lose at easy 15%. Okay?
Yeah, so you have only 40 minutes. So if you are, what Afia is saying, if you are doing it next to someone else, make sure that you complete it in your 40 minutes, because there is not enough time to really share questions or answers with your friend, because the system will randomize question order and also choices, okay? So probably no one is going to have the same exam, in the same way, okay? So, yeah. So question 1 is different for everyone. Question 2 will be different for everyone, yeah? For you might be 1, for me might be 20.
Different answers.
Different answers, yes.
So let's focus on yours.
Yeah.
Finish it within the time.
So it randomizes the options and the question order as well. For the final exam, it will be scheduled during examination time. You have 5 options and you need to answer 4 questions. We're going to give you some examples later in the semester. And hint, 1 question is coming from lecture activities. Okay, so when we have lecture activities, make sure that you complete your lecture activity here, or if we run out of time, make sure you complete that in your own time. Okay, we are assuming that all lecture activities included in the handouts and slides could be part of the assessment. Okay?
And ask questions.
And
so
ask questions.
If you know the right answer here.
Yeah. And ask questions in the lecture, because if you come to our consultation time in week 12, like, can you help me with this 50 activities? It's going to be complicated. So yes, make sure that you are finishing your activities as we go, and then you can come and ask questions if you have any particular issues or any particular problems. In terms of plagiarism and academic cheating, I just wanted to have this slide here because it's important that you reference everything. So if you are borrowing something from a journal article or an annual report, or maybe you're using some YouTube footage in your film, you need to reference them. You need to let us know where that is coming from. It could be either at the end of the video, or maybe small caps. You include YouTube footage, but you need to explain where are you using the information that you are either including in your treatment or your videography. Okay? The treatment will be submitted both on Blackboard and Turnitin, so it runs through the plagiarism software. So make sure that you reference and you paraphrase, and if you borrow anything, statistics or information, make sure that you are putting the reference in as well. If you have any questions about the course, here you have the sections where this information is detailed in the ECP in terms of assessment detail, course expectation, plagiarism, and if you have any questions about assessment extensions, you can also have a look at the information in that link, or if you have questions about any of them, send me an email, okay? So contact information, here are our consultation times, room numbers. Make sure that you send an email prior to appointment, so we make sure that we have time for you or your group. And we will also send you the location of the consultation time depending on how many people is coming. Because if the whole group is coming, we probably need a bigger room. Whereas if we have just one-on-one session, we can have it in our office. Okay, so make sure that you send us an email if you need to talk to us. All facilitators will be available from week 4 onwards to assist you with your assignment, and you will receive an email from us once we form groups telling you which facilitator is assigned to your group. Okay? So finally, read your course profile have a look at the information, assessment requirements, late submission policies, and if you have any questions, let me know, please. So now we're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we will continue with the lecture. So 10 minutes, you can have some water, you can go to a toilet, maybe buy some drinks, and come back.
No, it's still the lecture. But not which one is Friday. Really good.
Sorry?
It's really good.
What is really good?
This one, this section.
Lungs.
Yeah, it's really good.
Let me, this is one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I received some questions about the assignment during the break. If you go to assessment on Blackboard, you can download the project topic guidelines, and this is how it looks like. So in this document, you can see some further information about the topic that you will be working on for the assignment, for the major assignment. What is shopping and buying? What sort of references are we basing or are we using to explain this topic? So you can see some references here. You can look at those references through the library. Also some information and details about the project, which journals you could use to understand the theory behind the change and to understand consumer behavior. So try to stay with these journals. Don't use any extra journals unless we advise you to do it. Okay? So stay with these journals. So the best ones are Journal of Marketing, Journal of Consumer Research, Journal of Consumer Studies. So try to start with these ones first. And unless we advise you to look at specific paper in another journal, stay with those, because those are the ones that we know that are good and that provide the information, academic information necessary for your assignment. So all the information is here, project instructions. This document is available under assessment. Assessment, research project videography, and then if you click there, you will find that document. We also have some other information here, for example, the nomination form. So you can have a look at the nomination form, the questions that you need to answer to submit that nomination form that is due in week 4, and this is the one that we're going to complete in week 3. So if you have any questions, you can talk to us. So you should start forming groups between today and next week. So in week 3, we can sign you up into those groups, formalize the group enrollment, and just check that everything is working well. Because if you are not enrolled properly, then you won't receive a mark. So make sure that you are assigned to the right group. So what I would like you to do now is to take a minute or two just by yourself and think about how many decisions we make every day. Think about the decisions you make every day, but also decisions you just made today, okay? So what did you eat for breakfast? What sort of clothes are you wearing? Did you put any perfume or cologne? What sort of transportation mode did you use? Is that the one that you usually select or you usually use, or it's because we are finishing late today, you had to maybe drive your car today? Where do you have coffee? Do you go to the same coffee shop every day? What are you doing after this lecture today? Is that something that you regularly do, or you are changing your routine today? So let's take 1 or 2 minutes. I don't want anyone in anything else other than just thinking about this or taking notes, okay? So no Facebook or WeChat or anything else. FaceTime, Facebook, WhatsApp, okay? Okay, your 1 minute is finished. So now I want you to turn to the person next to you and discuss these questions. So how many consumption decisions did you think you made, and what were they? Did this involve choices of product types or brands? What reasons did you have for your choices? For example, a vehicle choice or functional reasons. For example, oh, I just drove today because, you know, it's too late and the bus doesn't run after 4 p.m. It's at the back of the bingo sheet. So you can take notes and discuss it with the person next to you, but make sure that you're taking notes for these activities. Who knows if this might be the question in your exam? Okay, how are we going? So, we have some concepts here. So, habitual choices and functional reasons. Can anyone give me an example of an habitual choice? Yes? Do we have an example of an habitual choice somewhere? Over there?
Choice can be a toothpaste decision.
I don't know. What's your example?
Toothpaste decision, which brand?
Okay, but it's up to the consumer. So
Yeah.
why would that be an habitual choice?
Because sometimes they trust a brand so much, like Colgate, and yeah, can be.
Okay. I think we're getting there, but we need to. Anyone else? What is an habitual choice?
We're talking about
functional. Okay.
Okay, toothpaste to reduce the sensitivity of the tooth, like
Okay.
Colgate.
Yes.
Yes, got some.
Functional. Yes. So functional reasons, sensitive teeth.
At the back about why they picked the same place for dinner.
Okay, I'm going to get there in a second.
We're talking the difference between the functional and
habitual.
Yeah. So for example, the habitual choice maybe like when you choose a coffee, like long black is your favorite type, or maybe mine is latte.
Okay.
And functional reason maybe like I took bus here today, and I have choice like whether drive here or take bus here. Like I take bus because it's hard to find a parking lot, so that may be the convenience things that's a functional choice.
Yes, that's correct. Very rational. Which one is it here where I'm heading towards?
Yeah, so like functional reason for the like when I wake up and I decide to go to school, and maybe I would grab an Uber because especially in the rush time there were traffic in the road, so I would grab an Uber.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, anyone else? We have a few examples. So anyone would think about maybe an emotional reason, something that you decided today in an emotional state. What would be an emotional reason? Sorry?
PMSing. When you're PMSing, you tend to eat more chocolates.
Okay. But any decisions that were emotional today? One here?
It's like when I got a pressure, I would go to the supermarket and buy ice cream for myself.
Okay. My God. Supermarket. Now that I read on Facebook, on the UK Facebook, that now we have a machine to get ice cream. With yogurt machine, yes, emotional, but it's healthy because it's yogurt, see? So you can do both, emotional and rational. So I think, yeah, my mic should be working. So do you always follow the same routine? Can you put your hands up if you follow the same routine every morning? Who checks the phone first thing in the morning? First thing in the morning, you check your phone. Every day. That's a routine, habitual decision making. Checking your phone, and probably the same app, right? Every morning, yes? So do you always buy the same brand for breakfast? Same brand for breakfast, anyone? Yeah. Yes? Yesterday, it was yesterday? No, Monday. We had a very interesting conversation about breakfast time. At what time do you have breakfast? 8 a.m.? Hands up, 8 a.m.? 9 a.m.? 10 a.m.? 11 a.m.? 12? Come on, hands up. You don't have breakfast? Who doesn't have breakfast? Many people. Why? Intermittent fasting? Okay. Is that an it's like part of your routine? Yeah. Anyone else? Why do you don't have breakfast?
Just wake up too late.
Too late?
Yeah.
At 12?
Maybe.
So you go straight to lunch.
Yeah.
Why are these questions relevant for us? Because we are consumers, so we need to understand our consumption behavior. Yes. What else? Why are these questions relevant? So we can take different perspectives. The company, but policymakers. Yeah? So if we are the government and we need to understand healthy habits, yeah, or how do we create healthy habits? Yeah? What if we push for have a nice healthy breakfast? And people is actually waking up at 12, not having breakfast. Yeah, that's a major issue. So what do we need to do? Do we try to say, maybe you should wake up a bit early, or we try to say, maybe your lunch needs to be healthy, right? Is this happening with everyone? Probably not. Because as soon as you have a kid, they will wake up at 6 a.m. So these are the questions that we need to understand as a consumer, as a company, or government when you are creating policies to change people's behavior, right? So yesterday I assumed that people not having breakfast was because they just wanted to skip breakfast, but no, it was because they tend to wake up after 11 and then therefore they have lunch, yeah? So. Silly me. Anyways, so it's important to understand changes. So routines are important because most of the time marketers, what they are trying to do is to break your routine, right? If you have the same breakfast every day, why don't you try this new one? We have a new innovation, right? If you have coffee in the same place, why don't you try this new coffee? Or even why don't you try a new variety of coffee in the same place, yeah? So that will be the marketer's perspective. So consumption is part of everyday life, including the rise of conspicuous consumptions. Okay, can anyone tell me what conspicuous consumption means? Yes?
Purchasing things just for the reason of other people seeing that you've purchased it or that you own it.
Okay, or things that you don't need, for example. Purchasing more than you need. Or better quality than you actually need.
Like 10 designer handbags when one perfectly normal handbag would be fine.
Yes, so if you need something to carry things, yeah, you don't really need to spend $2,000 or $25,000, right? So that, yes, but that's on the rise, especially everywhere where you go. It's about consuming more than you need or better quality, and we try to improve quality, we try to improve quantity or increase quantity as a marketers as well, right? Or companies, we have more offerings, we have more variety. It's not just one toothpaste, but it's one for sensitive, whitening, you name it, right? Maybe 6 or 7 types of toothpaste. Same with shampoo, right? One brand offering so many different options. Do we really need that many options? So that's conspicuous consumption, yeah? So we're going to talk about the postmodern consumer as well and how we approach consumers and the multiple approaches to studying consumers, but that is going to be reviewed next week because we are not going to have time today. So what is consumption? So this is a definition that is included in your textbook. And these authors are very well-known, renowned consumer behavior researchers. So they talk about consumption as individuals or groups acquiring, using, and disposing products, services, ideas, or experiences, right? So when we look into our assignment and when we look at consumption, or buying and shopping behaviors, we can look at individuals or groups, right? We don't need to focus on individuals only. We can look at using, disposing, and also products and services ideas, experiences. Can you buy an experience? Yeah? That's a very trendy now, like buying an experience, gift-giving experiences, right? Using and disposing. So consumption is not just about the act of buying, but how do we use it and how we dispose that product or service, right? What do we do afterwards? So transforming consumption in the textbook, and please read chapter 1 because it's very important for your assignment. So you understand transformation of shopping and what you are doing research on the following step. Yeah. So the textbook talks about, it develops like an historical perspective of how consumption is changing. So they talk about how maybe in the medieval times we started with a very subsistence level of consumption. So it was about maybe growing our own food, yeah, or having a very small amount of things that we needed. Right? So it was about we creating, making, or growing our consumption. That then translated and transformed into sharing or exchanging. Yeah. So I have my food, or I am growing some corn. Do you want to change it for something that you do better, right? And we started to exchange. And then we developed some more complex forms of exchange and consumption into exchanging goods, changing those goods for money, yeah? So selling, the act of selling and buying. Shopping centers, shopping malls started to grow. And then across borders, right? Globalization. And what you are studying is here, new trends. New trends and emerging trends and transforming trends in consumer behavior. So value, very important for us. What is value? What is value and how we perceive value? And what are the differences in terms of the different conceptualizations of value? What is value? So actually value is very hard to define because your perception of value will be different to my perception of value, right? So have anyone purchased an iPhone recently? 2 months ago? Can I ask you how much did you pay for that? Let's say you paid $1,800, maybe? Maybe a little bit more. What would it require for you to exchange it to me now? A new iPhone? Would you exchange it for a new iPhone?
For your iPhone?
A new one.
Oh, a new one.
Like now.
Like right now?
Like right now.
No, I think I have to wait for the next generation to come up. So that
If I pay you $200 more, what you pay, would you give it to me?
Yes.
Right now?
Yes.
Sorry? Yes? Yesterday we had someone that said, no way, I'm not going to give it to you, right? Who would exchange it right now? Can you put your hands up for a new iPhone? Like right now. What happened with everyone else? Why not? Can anyone tell me why not?
Because I have a lot of valuable pictures.
That's a good word. You have valuable pictures. Okay. What else do we have that is valuable in our iPhones or phones or smartphones? Videos? Okay. What else? Apps? Sorry?
don't want an iPhone. So like
You don't want an iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want a brand in particular. Like I don't want an Apple product.
So what's the phone that you have?
OnePlus.
Why did you buy that phone?
It's cheaper and it's like at par with the iPhone.
Okay.
I don't want like something really jazzy. So like the value kind of is different.
So you didn't want to pay as much and having sort of like a similar attributes?
Yeah.
How many of you have an iPhone? Please do this. Put your hands up if you have an iPhone. If you don't have an iPhone? Okay. We have quite a few. What do you have?
I have the worst phone ever.
You have the worst phone ever. That's a good example.
I can show you it. It's a 6-year-old Samsung.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you like it?
No.
You don't?
But guess what? It was free.
Oh, it was free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you change it for the Samsung now, or?
A new one? Yeah, absolutely. Can we do that?
No. So we have so many different options, right? And we buy things in different ways. So this is the way that we perceive value. So where you put your value would actually be very different depending on who are we asking, or like in your case, maybe also your life has changed since 5 years ago, yes? So the perceptions of value will change as well, right? So one way of looking at value is exchange value. So exchange value is usually equal to price, right? We change it for an amount, or we exchange it for an amount that we find reasonable. And it's usually set by the market, right? So we know roughly that an iPhone would maybe be between 1,500 and 25, maybe, like that's the range. But are we buying an iPhone because of the price or something else? What is the value of that product? Is on the price or something else? So we also have something called use value. And this is the example that, what's your name? Mirha. Just gave us, right? In terms of attributes. She's buying something. She's buying a phone or a specific product based on the value in terms of the usefulness it provides, right? So the attributes, it's like when you have a family and you need to buy a car. Although you can buy different cars for the same price, you are weighting attributes in different ways. Maybe they have a bigger booth, or car seats are better, or you have more space or less space, or you don't have kids, so you care about fuel economy, right? Or safety, or you want to take a road trip in Australia, so you need a big boot space, right? So that would be the use value. So what about your smartphone? Why did you buy your smartphone? Is it because of exchange value or use value? Use value? Are you sure? He's like, not really. The battery is really bad. You have to charge it everywhere. Yeah? How many times do you have to change the screen because it will crash? Right? If you jump into the pool, that's it, right? If you take a shower with your phone, that's it, right? So what is the value of an iPhone, really? So there is something called symbolic value, right? Symbolic value, it's a little bit more complex because it is about the symbolic meaning that we are attaching to that product or service, right? An iPhone may symbolize status or a type of personality or a degree of coolness, right? And different things would maybe symbolize different things for different people as well, right? So what I would like you to do is to think about this. Why you choose the clothes you're wearing to class today? Exchange value, use value, symbolic value, or a combination of them. So think about that for a minute, and I'm going to set up the software so you can click on that link and give me your answer. So it's an online poll.
She's branded.
Okay, so it's ready. So if you click on that link, select A for exchange, B for use, C for symbolic, and D for a combination of them. Did it work? If you go to that link. Did you vote? Not yet? You can use your phone or your computer. So if you click on that link, you should be able to join in. Not working? Just refresh. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it. Yes?
That might change. No, I was just explaining to her. Because she was talking about different occasions. So I was just probing to show different occasions. It could change.
Okay, we don't have much time, so I'm going to show you some of the responses. All right. So we have only 13 students. There you go. Good. Okay, so we have 19 people, lots of B's, so use value. Why use value? Can anyone tell me that? Click B. Why do you mean with use value? Yes?
Jacket to keep you warm.
The jacket to keep you warm, yes, that's good. Anything else? Anyone else? Another example? The
This one is suitable for different scenarios.
It's comfortable, okay, and it's soft. Good. So what can we learn from this if we are marketers? What can we learn? Think about advertisement on campus. What sort of brands could be advertised here? Thinking that students are coming and are selecting clothes based on use value. So what sort of attributes do we need to communicate?
You asked what's brand.
Yes.
I think maybe Lorna Jane.
Lorna Jane, okay. Yes, that's a good one. So we can learn from this. Would that be different? Would it be different if today we had a networking event? Yes? Would it be different if we have a networking event? Or if you are attending to an interview? Yes? We will probably have different responses here. So, C, symbolic value. Can anyone tell me? Symbolic value? What sort of, yes?
Yeah, because today is market day and I want to take photos of the outfit of the day. So I just choose this outfit and to take photo and post on the Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's a good one. The meaning of your clothes, she was smart in the morning. So it's market day, so you need to look good, right? You need to look good because you're gonna be taking pictures. Yes. So we can learn about all these differences and in different situations. Would it be different if it was this was a class of undergrad students? Yes. Why?
Normally they are sloppier.
They're slow. Remember, we are recording. So, yes, but not in week 1. So I think week 1 is the week that everyone sort of tries to pull out the best outfit, because most of them come to campus in week 1. Yes, so might be different as well. Age is a big influence of your behavior. So when you are looking into your trends, you really need to make sure that you are looking at the right segment, or that you are aware that maybe someone that is a bit older or a bit younger will behave in a different way. And that's something that you need to understand and communicate either in your video or in your presentation. Okay?
Based on what he said, though, I had some undergrad students and they were saying they didn't want to come to school. Like, they were still in that year 12 phase where their parents would force them, so they just, like, put on whatever.
Put on whatever, yes.
So that probably kind of
yes.
your experience, but yeah.
Yes, that's correct. I cannot talk about that because I'm being recorded. So I'm going to show you a quick video of a professor. So last year at the Australia New Zealand Marketing Conference, this is an academic conference, we recorded a few academics to show our students key concepts. So Professor Kai Storbaka, he is the academic that has developed mainly these ideas about exchange value, use value, and now he's talking about co-creation of value. So it's like a step further, yeah, from symbolic value. So we have these 3 that we just saw, and now he's going to add a new one, which is a little bit more advanced for master's students. So yes, so we interviewed him. I was behind the camera, but Alistair Toombs was interviewing him. He's an academic from marketing as well. And I'm going to show you this video, maybe half of the video, and then you can watch it.
Today we're talking with Professor Kai Storbaka from the Auckland Business School. Professor Storbaka is one of the world's leading experts on co-creation and service-dominant logic.
Yes, so hello. My name is Kai Storbaka, and I'm a professor of markets and strategy at the University of Auckland Business School at the Graduate School of Management. And my passion when it comes to research is really to look into something that I call market innovation. So we're looking into how can you shape markets so that they work better for you. And we've been doing that now for 10 years and starting to see some light in the end of the tunnel.
Can you explain how we've changed in terms of marketing thought from the idea of producing a product that the customer may like or not like to the idea of co-creation and the idea of value and use?
Yeah, so I mean, again, I'm an old guy, so I've seen the old marketing, and I obviously been involved in this new marketing for a long time. And I think the really big difference, typically when I try to explain this, I make a distinction between exchange value and use value. So in the old days, we were really interested in selling something. So, you know, that's I sell something to you and then you pay. Yeah. And that's called exchange value. So then what the value that is created is exchange value when I sell something. But then we realized that actually the value of the product or the service is actually created when you use it. So now we talk about use value. So it's not that you buy an iPhone, it's actually when you use the iPhone that you get the value. So hence the idea has been that we need to be involved, much more involved with the consumer or the customer when they're using stuff. And hence we're now talking about the idea that the value is actually co-created. So it's not like that I create value to you and then I just give it to you and you consume it and destroy the value. But more like I make it possible for you to create value. I give you components into your life that you can use and then combine them in so interesting new ways, and then you create value for yourself. And we call that co-creation.
So it's very interesting. It's a very different approach to look at things, because a lot of the value that it's online is co-created. We look at reviews, we look at pictures that other consumers will post, we look at comments. So that value is co-created with the consumer. And even now, when we think about sustainable practices, right? Supermarkets are asking us to bring our shopping bags, right? That is also co-creating value. What do you do after, and in terms of recycling and disposing your products? We could look at that in terms of co-creation as well. So this is a new way of looking at things and how we co-create value with the company in terms of maybe personalizing items or personalizing services, but also with other consumers. There are studies as well in terms of co-creation for medical procedures when you have someone that is very ill and then you need to take that person home. There is a lot that needs to be involved from the family perspective in terms of taking care of the patient at home. So there is a lot of co-creation as well there in terms of value. And what's the value that you are adding? So I may choose to take my mom or my parent or someone old home because we see more value into that co-creation rather than they staying at the hospital, right? So it's a new way of looking at things as well. So in terms of shopping revolution and talking about your assignment and what you are looking this semester, remember that I talked about how in medieval times, they started to do exchange. Then we have the stores, shopping centers. 1568 was the first shopping center in the UK. Catalogs was something very well known and popular because you couldn't really go to the shops if you live in a rural area or out of the city. So you had to order by phone and then pick up, or they will deliver it to you. That was a very, very popular way. Then computers appear. We don't need to have catalogs because we can order online. Now you're looking into this stage, but also what is happening afterwards, because we are seeing trends of going back to this, right? When we go to farmers markets or when we grow things at home, which is it's a very popular trend as well in terms of growing your things and growing and making your own food. So this is what you are looking at now. So from service to self-service, they talk in the textbook as well about this transition in terms of corner shops where you go and you ask for your food. Can I have 3 eggs? Can I have a liter of milk? Can I please have some flour, right? And then trolleys, so we can shop, walk around the shopping center, have a look at different options. Then options started to become popular. It was not just one milk, but we have how many options now? It was not just about one type of egg, but we have so many options of egg now. Yeah, big, jumbo, small, free range, cage-free, RACQ approved. No, it's not RACQ, RSPCA approved. What else? So many, the supermarket brand. some private brands, organic brands. You can go to the farmer's market and buy one of the farmer's eggs, free-range eggs, cage-free, and all of these things are different as well. Yes, so that's. And now we also have vending machines, right? Like the ice cream. Please go and take pictures of that ice cream machine if you go there. Hashtag ice cream machine, I don't know. So we don't have time to have a look at this because I was going to give you time to read it, but please take it home and read it at home. But what I would like you to think is about how changes in food services and food production and convenience foods have an impact in our daily lives, and also how our daily lifestyles have an impact on the way we consume as well. So we have so many different options: frozen food, fast food, convenience food. What was the other one that we took on Monday? The HelloFresh one. Have you used the food delivery services that you can buy weekly? Light and easy? Yes. What else? Ingredients? Like HelloFresh, that you get a box with all your ingredients. Yeah. Sorry? You can make your hot pot. And are you from Canada? Canada? I saw that the whole section in the supermarket, they have a thing now that you can buy. It's like ready, prepared food, but you have to assemble it. Is that, can you explain a little bit more how it works? Because I was fascinated.
It's kind of like a HelloFresh idea. So there's like, instead of, it sounds so silly to say it out loud, because I've used it. Instead of walking around like the grocery store and being like, okay, I need like this lettuce and I need like these vegetables and I need like this meat and this cheese, instead of like doing that yourself, because oftentimes, like as someone who like lives alone, if you buy one loaf of bread, like I can't eat a whole loaf of bread. Or like if you buy 12 eggs, like I can't eat 12 eggs before they go bad. So they portion out everything in the exact proportions that you need to make a meal, and then you just buy the whole kit, but then you still have to cook it yourself. So you get like the ownership of like, oh, I cooked my own meal, but you didn't have to weigh the ingredients, you didn't have to go around and pick them out yourself. It was all just like ready for you to go.
Amazing, and that's and that might be very popular because it's a whole section in the supermarket with different competitors, and I guess the market share is growing because otherwise they wouldn't have that many.
Well, some of them are like healthier than others.
Yes.
Some of them there's like vegetarian.
Or different styles like Indian food, and you can make your very different. You can use that for your assignment as well. You know, these changing trends. But now it's the chicken or the egg. Like, is it because we are changing or they are offering something that we didn't know we needed? So yeah, interesting changes happening. So please have a look at that reading. It's very small. In your own time, and think about this before next week. So in terms of more information about consumptions and consumerism, there's a big criticism to the way that the supermarket are sort of pushing for consumerism and to push us to buy things that we don't need, like this, right? So this is, I saw it because you get into shops and it's probably the first thing that you will see at the supermarket, right next to all the snacks and all the nice sweets and stuff. So like in your face, right? More expensive items are usually outside, right? Sensory delights, the use of smells and scents in the supermarket to increase purchasing behavior, like smell of bread, for example, near the bakery, because then it sort of creates the sensation that we're hungry. It's like warmth and familiar, and then we need some bread or we need some pastry, right? Where are the eggs? So a lot of marketing techniques to make us walk, right, around the supermarkets and going from one end to another end so we can get tempted and buy some more things. Travel with trolleys, so big, right? Very big. So even if you buy 20 or 30 items, it looks like you are not really buying much. So all of these things increase consumerism. We also need to think about consumer activism and how consumers are now maybe putting companies on the spot and complaining and making public complaints about practices that before were not really an issue. This is also something that you could research in terms of your assignment. You can think about anti-consumption trends and consumer activism in terms of shopping and buying behavior. So culture jamming is one strategy. That the idea is that you disrupt the efforts of corporations, and we see this type of strategies in a lot of documentaries. So if you have Netflix, you can have a look at some of the documentaries that do this type of strategy. Can anyone mention one documentary that have used this strategy to disrupt the efforts of corporations or call corporations? Super Size Me. Yes. Anyone else? No? You haven't seen them? Please watch them. It's very interesting. So yes, another option to look into. Other example of consumer activism, for example, occupying Wall Street, or different types of boycotts. We also have deviant consumer behavior, another way of looking at your changes and transitions and emerging trends. Deviant consumer behavior, so they refers to reactions that violate the accepted behavior, so things like downloading Games of Thrones. Netflix had 30% of market share before it was legal in Australia. Yeah? 30% of market share. So that means that it was a lot of deviant consumer behavior. Sharing Spotify accounts, sharing Netflix accounts. Yeah? A lot of you are like, maybe, but it's my mom. It's okay, right? Yeah, but still, you know, like if you were purchasing it, then that would be positive for the company. That because you are not, then it's deviant consumer behavior. And we also have consumer terrorism. Does anyone remember what happened with the strawberries? The needles? Yes? Yeah, that's consumer terrorism, right? Now it's illegal. You can go to jail if you do something like that. So Sizzler restaurant, someone put right poison into the food. But I think that was an employee, not really a consumer. So we can classify consumers in terms of different types of consumers. So if you read this list, maybe you can identify yourself as one of these types of consumers. Can you have a quick look at the list? You're laughing. What is your selection?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the artists is really interesting. It's like fulfill the needs for aesthetic pleasure and fantasy.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe sometimes I'm looking for some like goods just because they've got attractive packaging. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Explorer, like this, there's a concept over here of Bella Box that you get like for a certain amount, you get a box which has different products, so that you can explore all the products and then buy what you want to buy if you like it.
Yes.
It has the luxury and the low end and the useful and everything. Like you can actually explore more products in the same price range.
Good. That could be another topic for your research. Yeah, so all these boxes, yeah, I had one, the Goodness Me box, that you get like good things, healthy things, organic stuff, and like healthy snack bars, but I have tried that one as well. The thing is that we don't belong to a certain category our whole life, right? We change, we transform, and this is where the postmodern consumer comes into place, because we don't look at consumers as you are one consumer. We look at consumers as you are that consumer in the specific product category, or you are a consumer in a specific context. Or for example, in terms of cosmetics, it could be like an explorer, right? But maybe in another context or another product category, you behave in a different way. Yeah? So in one of the chapters, you will look at the multiple selves and self theory and how we sometimes have different selves. We behave differently with our partner, with our family, and school, at work, and therefore we are also different types of consumers. If you see an Australian, and I'm being recorded, I should not say this again. If you see Australian tourists in Bali, yes, that type of consumer will behave in a completely different way as they will behave at work or at uni, right? Maybe buying different things, maybe trying different things, maybe buying some experiences that they wouldn't buy in Australia, maybe dressing in a different way, right? And I guess that happened with every single country really, but yeah, you can tell. Or when in summer, when you see someone buying different during your vacations, you will behave different ways. So these are some examples of activist consumers. I'm gonna finish in 2 minutes. So activist consumers that are actually complaining, just a second. So some examples of activists in a very particular situation. So this is what happened when supermarkets were trying to promote the plastic bag ban in Australia, and supermarkets started to complain about what is happening with all your other practices. So what is happening with the vegetables? What is happening with all the other packaged products that you are offering? Your practices are not really in sync with what you are trying to do and what you are trying to say. So you are saying that you are environmentally friendly and you want to have a more sustainable practice, but on the other side, you have all these products full of packaging and with plastic. Yes, so a lot of them became activists, right? But it's just in this particular product category. Because most of us, we use plastic and we are in constant contact with things that are not environmentally friendly, right? And we don't complain about that much. So another way to classify consumers in terms of calculating traditional, unique, and responsible. So I'm just showing you different frameworks to classify consumers. So we're going to finish here, just 1 minute. You have a homework for next week. Next week. So please have a look at this activity. You need to read the consumer in Insight 1.3 as you will be starting next week with an activity. So it is about needs and wants, and next week we are going to recap the slides that we didn't have time to go through today. Okay? So if you have any questions, please let me know. And thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
So you'll be taking the class? We're not sure yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet, but I found it is interesting.
Yeah.
I just show interesting in this course, and I will compare with other courses and decide.
Sure. And if you have any questions,